Hello my friends, I'm Mini Pride from Milk and Cookies Total War, and just last weekend I had the opportunity to play Thrones of Britannia, a new Total War game set in Britain during the 9th century AD. This was actually a marked departure from what CA has done in the past. Typically, influencers and press would be invited to an event, would be given a short presentation of the game, and then maybe have an hour or so to play and capture footage. But this time, there was no event, no red carpet, no Lamborghinis or the lifestyles of the rich and famous. No, this time, I got a code sent to my email, and I got a hell of a lot more time to sink my teeth into the campaign and the battles themselves. This video will be my overall general impressions of what I've played so far, what I liked, what I didn't like, what I think needs work, and so I'm not going to go super in depth with what Northumbria's second to last military tech is, what percentage melee attack Huskarls can get buffed by, or how Alfred the Great likes his tea. There will be plenty of time for that in other videos. But before we start, I do want to preface what comes next by saying that I play this series for the battles, first and foremost. Total War is unique in the massive scope, the real-time maneuvering, and the cinematic nature of their battles. There are plenty of other games that do more complex, more interesting political and economic management, and more in-depth grand strategy, but to the best of my knowledge, there are none that come close to what is offered on a Total War battlefield, and none that offer an overarching campaign map that gives context to those same quality battles. And if there was, I would probably be playing that game and creating content for it as well. And in some ways, I think that's a problem for Creative Assembly, but more importantly, a problem for consumers. I've talked about it before, but the fact that they don't have a rival, a close competitor in terms of a strategy game that combines turn-based resource management on a beautiful campaign map with real-time tactical battles means they kind of have a monopoly on this little corner of the behemoth that is the gaming industry. And monopolies can breed complacency. They can stifle innovation, and that can be a negative thing for us, the people who play their games. Because we want new features, we want new mechanics that work well, and we want every new game to be an improvement over the last. I'll start off by saying that I think Thrones of Britannia is going to be a very divisive game within the Total War community. There is already a divide between the Warhammer and historical fans, and I think this game might accentuate that and make the gap even wider. There are a lot of redeeming qualities about it, especially when it comes to the campaign map, which is gorgeous by the way, and there are a lot of deeper, more complex features that will attract the grand strategy and historical fans back to this game, when some of them might have taken a hiatus with Warhammer and its admittedly streamlined and less intricate mechanics. But on a surface level, and whether people want to admit it or not, that first impression, that shiny veneer on top of all the important nuances, is incredibly important. It needs to reach out and grab people and pull them in. And I'll be completely honest, I wasn't. When I booted up Thrones for the first time on my home computer, I was not grabbed, I was not immersed, I didn't drop my jaw like I have for some of the other games in the series when I first played them. And a big reason for that were the battles. To give some context, I was given 3 campaign saves, all after turn 50. One with Northumbria, one with the Welsh, and one with the Scots. For the Northumbria campaign, you're essentially a settled Viking kingdom, trying to strike a balance between placating your ravenous armies and the local Anglo-Saxon populace. This is represented by the Here King mechanic, where you try to balance the happiness of your home provinces while keeping your generals loyal and your army pleased with the plunder that follows from successful conquest. The very first thing I wanted to do was fight a big battle and see how they played out. Obviously wanted to get my hands on some Huskarls and those big fearsome Dane axes they carry around, so I declared war on Wales immediately. They sailed to one of my coastal towns, took it, and I moved an army to take it back. And so, the battle for Lancaster commenced, what's now on screen. Battle maps are beautiful, by the way. Hands down, one of the best things about the game. Both the unfortified settlement maps and fortified siege maps are going to be really fun to fight over, especially the sieges, which hopefully you'll get to see very soon from me. But one of the things that I noticed right off the bat is how incredibly similar the battles are to Attila and Age of Charlemagne. Now, those games don't have bad battle systems by any means, but they do have their fair share of problems, and Thrones appears to have all or most of the same ones. Most of the battles I played were between 2 and 5 minutes long of actual engagement. They could very easily get changed during balancing, but in this build, which is admittedly a relatively old one, they were pretty short. They weren't visually spectacular to me though. Cavalry charges were anemic and their momentum just kind of stops dead upon making contact with an enemy. There's no real visceral impact there, and as we know, infantry formations pretty frequently do some janky stuff where they charge each other and kind of morph into each other, without any real sense of weight behind their collision, and it kind of turns into this amorphous blob. And one of the first things I tried was taking an infantry unit and stretching out its formation, and sure enough, spaghetti lines are still in the game. Why? Seriously, why are spaghetti lines still a thing in Total War? Literally, no one likes them. They look awful. They don't make for more fun or engaging battles in any way, shape, or form. Warhammer got rid of them. Just put a cap on how wide you can spread out an infantry unit, please. And I don't think that would be a particularly challenging thing to put in, and I think it would benefit the game a lot. Because again, you look at Rome 2, you saw how battles devolved into these battles of spaghetti lines, and it just was not good from a visual perspective in any way, shape, or form. In one of my first battles with Wales, the AI cavalry suicided themselves into my spear walls, which you'll probably see in my Gwyneth Let's Play when I fought against Alfred the Great. Axes still get used like swords, blunt ends shoved through the throats of enemies in what must be an absolutely excruciating death at the hands of godlike beings. To have the physicality to shove a blunt instrument through someone's head, truly that is the preserve of gods, Odin's finest indeed. But yeah, in a game that undoubtedly lacks the variety of Warhammer or even a Medieval 2, the battles need to be nailed. They need to kick ass and improve on what has come before, feel more visceral, feel more impactful and meaty and new, and they don't really. And they feel exactly like Attila and Age of Charlemagne to me in almost every facet, and that's kind of disappointing. Now, to be fair, there are new mechanics being introduced here. For instance, arrows and range units have a critical hit chance that can bypass shields and armor, representing that lucky killing strike from downtown. That's a pretty nice addition, and there's likely more yet to be revealed, but it's kind of harder to feel those things in a battle. It's a lot easier to notice how units move, their animations, how they interact with each other, and when they recall the feelings you got from other games, it makes it seem like you're playing those, not something new. So besides that one battle with the Welsh, I had an incredibly difficult time getting anyone, and I do mean anyone, to fight me. I declared war on all the Anglo-Saxon factions on my southern border, and there were a lot of them, and I marched my army through their territories for literally 15 turns, and not once did I see a stack try to defend their territory or fight me. Not once. Now, the save I was playing on was normal difficulty, but 60 turns into a campaign, that's kind of when you expect AI to have built up some forces and military power, and show that they at least care about defending their provinces from marauding Vikings. Apparently not. I didn't get to fight any battle near the Anglo-Saxons there, and that whole situation was really weird. I did not know. I'd be very surprised if that's what the game will actually be like when people play it. I don't think that's how it's going to play out, but in my experience on the Northymbre campaign, that is exactly what happened, and it was bizarre. I can just say that situation was pretty bizarre. But while the battles felt like rehashing old ground, the campaign map and the features being added there are definitely great steps in improving the strategic elements of Total War. And it's clear that a lot of focus is being put there on the campaign map to improve the macro play and basically just give you more to do, give you more to think about. Loyalty and political intrigue play driving roles in your campaign, and there are a lot of options for increasing one's influence, manipulating generals and buying their loyalty by granting them estates, marrying off rivals, or attempting to strengthen your alliances with other factions. And there are features here that people have been asking for a very long time, and they're finally getting put in. Now, one of the things I haven't gotten a chance to fully see for myself yet, but I've definitely gotten the impression of in my play sessions thus far, is that I sense you can play this campaign many different ways besides conquer everything and just paint the map in blood. And that's a huge factor for replayability, right? When you can carve out an economic empire or make alliances that aren't thrown away at the drop of a hat, a la Realm Divide and Shogun 2, that gives players more options on how they want to approach the game. That's a very good thing. And it seems like they fine-tuned diplomacy to just have it make more sense than it has in some of the previous iterations of Total War. And diplomacy has been bolstered tremendously by simply streamlining trade. No longer will you bang your head against a desk as the AI refuses to trade for no other reason than random spite, when it would be mutually beneficial for them to do so. And there's just lots of little quality of life stuff that adds up to make for a good experience on that, I'm gonna say it again, gorgeous campaign map. Seriously, one of the best CA's ever done. And I also noticed how nice it was to not have to worry about agent spam. I don't think anyone has ever enjoyed being poisoned by a gang of enemy spies, seeing their entire army take like 300 casualties, and have the movement speed of a geriatric arthritis patient as they get sabotaged over and over again. So with the agents gone, that kind of stuff isn't going to be happening. Although there's definitely an argument to be made about why agents are cool and a good addition. I can definitely see why CA decided to forgo them in this one, and ultimately I think it'll probably be a good thing. Optimization is for sure better than Attila, noticeable improvement, game's running pretty smoothly for me, and the soundtrack and voice acting are very thematic and nice polish on top of what is admittedly a very pretty game. The battles themselves, maybe not my favorite in the series so far, but visually, they still look great in terms of the unit models, in terms of the colors, definitely stick out, definitely much more colorful than Attila was. So again, it has its fair share of redeeming qualities, and especially if you're in love with the setting, if you love Vikings and the establishment of a kingdom that will rule the Isles into the 21st century, there is a lot to like here, no question in my mind. The siege maps are going to make for some great videos. You'll get to see them in action very soon, I think, and there will be tons of opportunity for fun role-playing videos and good content to come out of this game. But I will say, at the moment, I'm hesitant right now. While the campaign map itself is very important for Total War, and they've made some really nice strides there, Total War is first and foremost, for me, about the battles, and I sense a distinct lack of innovation and polishing on that front that would have made this a much more attractive purchase. And I don't know if that's because the Attila engine is severely limited in what it can achieve in terms of battles, or if they were happy with the way those battles were to begin with, so they didn't feel like it required much tweaking or what. But while they will be fine, they'll be satisfactory, they aren't going to blow anyone away. And as I already stated, in a game with a distinct lack of visual variety compared to other entries in the series, I think it needed more love. There needed to be more love there. Ultimately, I need more time with the game. Honestly, I need to play from turn 1 and turn 50, start from the very beginning, get more immersed in it, grow attached to my characters, grow attached to my family tree and my king's grasp for power, to play those early game battles, because I think this will be a slower burn compared to some of those other games in the series, as complexity takes a bit longer to manifest itself and play a role in your campaigns. And that was undoubtedly something lacking in my playthroughs, because I was starting from campaign saves halfway through the game, where I had made none of the moves preceding it, where none of it was my decision making, where I had no sense of attachment with any of my generals or anything along those lines. But you only get one first impression, you only get one second impression, and neither have been great experiences for me so far, which has me wondering if maybe Thrones of Britannia was a missed opportunity. I want to be proved wrong, I want to love this game, and I really do think that there are some great features and mechanics here, but we're just going to have to see. I'm really looking forward to showing off some big siege battles, hopefully very soon, and I think those will ultimately be a deciding factor for a lot of people. So make sure to tune in when we check out the Welsh, check out some Vikings running over plebs in siege gameplay still to come. Thank you all for watching. Check out all the Thrones info dropping across the series of tubes over the next couple days, and I'll see you soon. Indie Pride, signing out for now.
The battle is turning in our favor.